This week, Sana Staros goes solo, Andor continues to amaze, and more. Kevin, what are you doing? You're not gonna pass for an Imperial like this, I'm sorry. You're not even wearing any pants. And we did this gag already, weeks ago. Let's just get to the news. Sana Staros is starring in her first solo Marvel comic book series this February, and we're thrilled to give you a look at the cover from Ken Lashley for issue #1, written by Justina Ireland. We've also got your first look at the cover of Star Wars Yoda #4 with art by Phil Noto and a story from Jody Hauser. And the final issue of the Charles Soule penned Star Wars The High Republic The Blade, issue #4, with art by Giuseppe Camuncoli. Not enough new Marvel Star Wars cover art for you? You've convinced me. Here, have Star Wars The High Republic #5 with a cover by Yannick Paquette and a story from Cavan Scott, plus covers for The Mandalorian issue #8 and a variant cover that's literal fire, as well as Star Wars Hidden Empire #3, Star Wars #31, Bounty Hunters #31, and Dr. Aphra #29. Head to StarWars.com/thisweek right now for a closer look at the covers and even more variants. And keep your eyes peeled because our intel says there will also be some Black History Month variant covers coming your way for most of the titles on that list. Production has begun on The Acolyte. Earlier this week, we learned some exciting casting news for the forthcoming Disney Plus original series. Joining star Amanda Stenberg are Emmy Award winner Lee Jung-jae, Manny Jacinto, Daphne Keane, Jodie Turner-Smith, Rebecca Henderson, Charlie Barnett, Dean Charles Chapman, and Carrie-Anne Moss. The latest Star Wars live-action mystery thriller takes place in the final days of the High Republic era, following a former Padawan reuniting with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes. Can't wait to see more from creator and showrunner Leslie Headland's new series. But while we wait, there's still our weekly dose of Andor to enjoy. Today we're talking episode 9. Nobody's listening! You have to yell it because punctuation. And this explanation buys some time for our friends who haven't watched and need to skip to the timestamp below. We know some of you were rooting for Ded Ramiro to make it in her male-dominated field of Imperial security, but stop it, just stop it. Stop it. Because Dedra might just be evil. When she and Dr. Gorst come to town, things get dark very quickly for poor Bix Caleen, who's being tortured for intel on Cassian Andor. For a series that has created a beautiful tapestry of sound design and score, it's a stroke of genius that we never actually hear what's turned Bix into a screaming pile of human jelly. Now we can all fill in our own worst nightmare noises for ourselves. Back on Narkina 5, things weren't much better. Cassian spends all day thinking about ways to escape, but Kino Loy is too busy worrying about his gig as floor manager and counting down his own sentence, which is where this episode gets its title.
Nobody's listening!
Rumors are flying, but it's only after Olaf, with just 40 days left, is worked to death, that Kino begins to see Cassian's point of view. We're asking again, Kino, how many guards are on each level?
Never more than 12.
But it wasn't all bad news. Auntie Vel came by to see her cousin and her niece, and surprise, the leader of the Aldhani mission is part of the Mothma family. And the best news of all, she's only related to Perrin by marriage. I almost couldn't wait for the next episode, and you don't have to, because episode 10, One Way Out, is streaming now exclusively on Disney+. We love self-made woman Bix Caleen, and today we're joined by actor Adria Arjona to talk more about what she brings to the role. Hello, Adria.
Hi.
Our question for you is, how would you describe Bix for us and her transformation this season so far?
I think Bix is bold and fearless and incredibly loyal, and sometimes to her own detriment. I think she really takes care of the people around her. I think she sort of has created a family for herself, having not really a family of her own. Her friends are sort of her family. She's a woman that's really hardworking. She's the owner and manager of a sow yard and understands what that means and how quick someone can lose it, especially in a world like Ferrix, which is so industrial and so competitive. And she's very into being at the top or being the best. The betrayal of Tim is, I think, what completely breaks her, and she kind of can't understand why that happened, and also feels so silly and stupid and sort of judges herself. I'm like, why would I ever mention anything? And I think that head injury doesn't help her either. And that sort of takes her on this almost spiral where she no longer is Bix. She sort of loses that autonomy. She loses that power, that fierceness. after that, she gets captured. She sort of becomes this prey. I talked a lot to Tony about sort of the arc. At the apartment that I was staying in London, I had an office, and I always looked like a serial killer because I had notepads everywhere. I felt it's like, oh my God, I'm an actress. I just kept telling everyone, I was like, I'm an actress. If you come in, don't get scared. Just sort of plotting and connecting the dots that would sort of take Bix to where she ends up becoming. And I think Tony made such an interesting choice. I think we've seen torture scenes so much in cinema for so many years that how do you do it different? And what do you do different? And I think auditory, it just messes up with my head and with my brain. I think you have so little control about that.
Thank you so much for joining us and for bringing Bix to life.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this week, but for more on these stories and other news from around the galaxy, check out StarWars.com. And be sure to join us right here for This Week in Star Wars every Thursday. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.